Final destination unknown. By Markus Albert Langer. Next stop, Culrain. Patrick wanted to grab something to eat and drink from the mobile onboard service before getting off. A sandwich and a beer. That way he could have a little refreshment on the walk from the station to Carbisdale Castle, as it would be a long time until dinner, and besides, like all youth hostels, alcohol was strictly forbidden there. So he set off in search of the man pushing his service trolley with snacks and drinks through the train carriages. His travel companions called after him to hurry up. He found the vendor in the second carriage ahead. An elderly lady was just about to order something from Steve, as his name badge read, but she couldn't decide which sandwich to take. At that moment, the train pulled into the station. "This is going to be close!" Finally, the woman received her change from Steve, and Patrick could place his order. Quickly pay and get back to my seat, he thought. He rushed to the rear carriage, grabbed his backpack, and ran towards the train door. Just as he was about to reach it, the door closed. His attempt to reopen it failed. The train slowly started moving again. Patrick's friends stood on the platform and shrugged their shoulders, unaware of any fault. Patrick reacted angrily. "One of you could have blocked the bloody door." Patrick, Alexander, Thomas, and Thomas's sister Anna had actually travelled to Scotland to meet a fellow student. However, ever since they had arrived in the United Kingdom, their trip seemed to be cursed. They had landed in Edinburgh on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. The young woman and her 3 male companions yawned as they disembarked, having spent a sleepless night at the godforsaken Terminal 4 of London Heathrow. To top it off, a shrill bell rang at 2 a.m. The loudspeaker announcement informed them that a fire alarm test was taking place. Now they stared at the conveyor belt. It ran and ran, but their luggage was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly the belt stopped. Still no sign of their backpacks. "Great," sighed Alex. Without a word, the other 3 headed to the airline counter. "Your luggage is still in London. It will be sent on the next flight," explained a young, dark-haired woman from the ground staff. "Please provide me with the address of your accommodation so we can deliver your belongings there." How odd, Patrick thought to himself. They had the entire night at Heathrow to transfer the luggage from one part of the airport to another. "Let's head to the youth hostel," suggested Anna. The young travellers took a bus from the airport into the city, with Haymarket Station being close to their accommodation. "It's cold and raining," grumbled Thomas. "Our rain jackets are in the backpacks," Patrick noted ironically. "At least they won't get wet there," Alex quipped. Anna tried to encourage the boys. "It's only a few hundred yards to the hostel." They started running. Although the Eglinton hostel was just 300 or 400 yards from the bus stop, the intensifying rain soaked through their clothes. Completely drenched, they stood at the hostel's reception desk. "Check in quickly, change clothes, and take a shower." That was their only thought now. The young woman and the 3 young men were assigned separate 10-bed dormitories, strictly divided by gender. The receptionist also handed them a note from their fellow student. "Meet me today, Tuesday, at 12 o'clock at the Scott Monument." With borrowed towels, they headed to the shower room. Thankfully, at least the shower worked perfectly. The water was neither freezing cold nor scalding hot. Patrick had had his share of bad experiences with hostel showers. In the meantime, their backpacks had been delivered. Now Anna, Alex, Thomas, and Patrick could put on fresh clothes and head into the city. As they left the hostel, Patrick noticed a silver lining, quite literally. The rain had stopped, and the sun occasionally broke through the clouds. It took them about 15 minutes to reach Princes Street. Since they still had plenty of time before their midday meeting, they strolled along this shopping street in the heart of Edinburgh. A sudden hunger led them into a fast food chain restaurant. A quarter of an hour before noon, they made their way to the meeting point. the monument built in honor of Scottish poet Walter Scott. The hands of their watches pointed to 12. Their friend Ben should be arriving soon. Half an hour passed. Still no sign of Ben. Waiting and more waiting. At first they checked the time every 15 minutes, then every 5. Alex had already done countless laps around the monument, while Thomas and Patrick had explored the eastern part of the Princes Street Gardens. Only Anna sat patiently on a park bench in front of the monument, standing 200 feet and 6 inches tall, according to the travel guide. After 2 hours, Ben was still nowhere to be seen. Enough waiting. Patrick and the others left the site, eager to see more of the city. Edinburgh Castle, the Scotch Whisky Heritage Centre, the National Gallery, and much more. When they returned to the hostel from the old town, a new message awaited them. "I've already gone north. Just follow me. Ben." Exhausted from the day's exertions and the previous night, they went to bed early. Thomas and Alex collapsed into their beds, but Patrick remained awake in his linen sleeping bag. The reason, in the bed by the window, a German railway worker was snoring. It sounded as if an old steam locomotive was puffing up a hill. Nothing disturbed the man from Saxony. A brief conversation earlier had revealed his dialect and origin, not even the French teenagers repeatedly turning the light on and off throughout the night. Unlike Patrick, who finally managed to fall asleep well after midnight, leaving only 3.5 hours for rest before the next leg of their journey. Another night with little sleep. Patrick took a seat again in the open carriage. He pondered what to do next. He could get off at the next station, Inversion, in a minute, and catch the train heading south in a few hours. Or he could walk across the railway bridge that the train was currently crossing. However, that was strictly forbidden and carried a hefty fine. Just don't get caught, Patrick thought. When the train stopped in Inversion, Patrick remained seated. "I don't care about anything today. I'll just ride to the final destination," he muttered to himself. He ate his snack, a ham sandwich, and drank the world-famous Danish beer from the can. Through the window, the landscape changed. Sheep, appearing as tiny white dots, were scattered across the green hills. The sun reflected in the dark blue waves of the sea. On the white sandy beach along the railway line, rabbits frolicked. After a while, Patrick fell asleep.